for that D under Minter?
Yeah, part of the reason why I like the Jesse Minter hire so much was what a fantastic job he did in Los Angeles. Despite not having, I feel, a distinct talent advantage, that was a defense with the Chargers that was consistently exceptionally well coached and structurally very similar to, I would say, current trends in the NFL, similar to how the Seahawks play. Lots of light boxes, fourth highest rate in football, a lot of that split safety structure on the back with disguise, which is, despite the fact that Minter was, in Baltimore and there's continuity there with Mike McDonald, right? The Ravens defense last year was quite different. They did not play with light boxes very much to stop the run. They did not play, they played split safety at 31st in the NFL highest rate. This was a defense that played a lot more man coverage. So I'm intrigued to see when Minter comes back and he's taking over this defense, does it look more like the Chargers? The light boxes might be a little bit difficult because Trey Hendrickson was their big signing. He is not very good against the run. Do they trust their linebackers to hold up in that regard? But that is really key to the structure of how he likes to call defense. And to me, it's going to be key to whether or not this unit can bounce back from what we saw last season.
Yeah, Mina, the scheme is one thing. I will say that the team feels very good about the defensive side of the ball. I was talking to somebody just a few minutes ago who talked about Trey Hendrickson fitting in. He's been at everything so far this offseason and fitting in very nicely. They've been very impressed by him so far. The big question is, can they get healthy? They are dealing with some injuries up front on the defensive line that they feel generally minor and should be fine. But this is a team that they feel really good about the defense. And going back to the Lamar Jackson situation, there has been very good communication so far. There is not concern in that capacity, despite his absence today. But in general, I will say there are some pretty good vibes in Baltimore right now.
Yeah, it does feel like, though, talking about Lamar's absence is something that Baltimore head coaches have to do on the regular. Meanwhile, we have some breaking news. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice was incarcerated after testing positive for marijuana in violation of the terms of his probation. Rice is now going to miss OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Instead, he's going to be spending the next 30 days in jail. He was booked into custody in Dallas on Tuesday. He is scheduled to be released on June 16th. Now, back in July of 2025, he was ordered to serve jail time for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas in March of 2024. The NFL suspended Rice 6 games last season for violating the personal conduct policy. So, Jeff, what more can you tell us about this situation, this latest chapter for Rashee Rice?
Well, first of all, in the very immediate forefront is the fact that Rashee Rice will not be able to participate in OTAs or the mandatory minicamp, of course. That's something that relates to the football field. The question then becomes whether the NFL will also provide discipline based on the fact that he did fail this marijuana test through his probation. That's not through the NFL, though. I did reach out to the league, and their simple comment at this point is we are aware of the report and will decline further comment at this time. So we will wait to see whether Rice will face further discipline from the NFL here. Certainly, though, his own problems to deal with in the immediacy here with 30 days in jail.
And in terms of the team, Rice is supposed to be a key piece for a Chiefs receiving core that has certainly had to rely a lot on Travis Kelce, who's obviously coming back this season. He's been the team's leading receiver for 4 straight years. Of their top 3 wideouts, Rice played 6 fewer games than Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton did last year. So, Peter, here we are. What's your take on this situation?
Totality of it all is just disappointing. This is a situation where the young man gets stung here for this thing, so he's got to serve 30 days in jail. He was going to have to spend those 30 days over the next 5 years at some point, but now it's expedited. But, just speaking with people around the league and with sources in Kansas City leading up to the draft and even up till today, this thought that they're going to go get Deebo Samuel or go and make a play for Brandon Ayuk, like, they don't have money. They're tapped out. They don't have the flexibility to go out there and now suddenly entertain calls and start hosting free agent visits. It's almost like this is what we've got. The draft has already passed us by, and we're showing names like Cyrus Allen. Like, you're going to have to really rely on those young players to make plays. But disappointing, and I don't even know what they expected from Rashee Rice this year based on his availability, whatever else. But this certainly sets them back. And to Jeff's point, there might be some real league disciplinary action again. So at this point, you say it's a slap on the wrist, but it actually could be more than that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, uncertainty around receiver like this would be bad for any team, but I think Peter highlighted exactly why it's especially bad for the Kansas City Chiefs, because they don't just hope Rashee Rice returns to form. They need him to return to form, I believe, for this receiver group to be competitive or good enough, frankly, in 2026, especially if they can't add to it for financial reasons. Rice has had, such an up and down career as a rookie. You guys remember he was like a sensation in this offense. He was a yards after the catch machine. He was so good against zone coverage and so paired so well with Kelsey and then Worthy. And then I had a missing year because of the injury. And then last season, it kind of felt like he just never quite returned to form. He really struggled with drops in the end of last season. Drop rate over 10%. That's something that needs to improve. And when you take a step back and look at the group as a whole, they brought back Tyquan Thornton. He can be a deep threat. Xavier Worthy can work deep and maybe some underneath and get some manufactured touches. But Rice really is the only receiver you feel good about as a short intermediate receiving option who you can rely on in this offense. And if he's not either available or not 100%, then I start to really get concerned about the group as a whole.
Yeah, and to that point, as he's in the final year now of his 4-year rookie deal, he has missed 22 of 30. Ravens back on the field this week for OTAs. Lamar Jackson and company look at a bounce back. They missed the playoffs last season, as you know. And now to try to turn things around, first-year head coach Jesse Minter hired to replace John Harbaugh in Baltimore. But here's the deal. Lamar, he wasn't at OTAs today. Here's what his new head coach had to say about it, new on SportsCenter.
Lamar's been one of our leaders of the offseason program, and a couple things going on yesterday and today, and do expect him to be back soon. We've had some great conversations. Know when he's going to be back, and again, I'll probably leave those between me and Lamar.
Wow, he's answering the same questions that Harbaugh did. How about that? They made some big moves. Obviously, they had a real problem with their pass rush. So they add Trey Hendrickson, future Hall of Famer Calais Campbell is in there. They lose Tyler Lindenbaum, and they lose their tight end, Isaiah Likely. Also have some work to do with pass protection. Offensive Player of the Year, Jackson Smith and Jigma posted on social media that the award he received actually said Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, with his name on it. And the caption is getting disrespectful at this point. The NFL spoke to The Athletic, and they apologized. They said they're in the process of creating and sending him a new trophy. But what's really funny about that is JSN actually had 3 tackles last year on Sam Darnold interceptions.
He could have been the Defensive Player of the Year. Perfect.
He said he wants to keep it.
Might as well.
NBA Today is next.